Hey, Buddy Melon here. You might have noticed many brands recently announcing a new feature on their mice called Turbo Mode or named something similar, which supposedly updates the frame rate on their mouse's sensor. However, many brands are advertising this update as 20k Hz, which is not indicative of what this feature actually does, so I wanted to make a quick video explaining what this update actually does. Now, firstly, this feature locks the sensor's frame rate to 20k FPS, not Hertz or scan rate, which forces the sensor to update at 20k FPS, not the variable range it normally does, which is usually defined by polling rates or DPI levels. Now this, at least on paper, does improve performance to a degree, but at the cost of additional power draw. But this does not mean that your mouse will pull at 20k Hz like some brands are suggesting, as the fastest a mouse can currently pull is 8000 Hz, and the report rate of your mouse is defined by other variables on your hardware, not the mouse itself. So while the sensor's frame rate can be locked to 20k FPS above its variable rate, your system won't ever actually use that amount of data due to hardware bottlenecking, which can lead to oversampling. And all this oversampled data from the sensor in this turbo mode never even gets transferred to your computer anyways, leading to increased power draw for really no performance benefits. Now this concept of a comp mode or a turbo mode isn't new, as we've seen many brands utilize them before on the previous generation PAW 3395 sensors. However, just like those previous modes, this turbo mode feature is essentially the same as previous comp modes, and in reality it only provides a very nominal performance benefit, as most hardware can't even utilize the benefits of it, or even 8000 Hz polling for that matter. Now you're probably wondering why brands are promoting this feature so much. Well, in short, it's yet another unnecessary metric brands can use to advertise to make their mice look better to consumers, as much like sensor DPI, people think the bigger number is better, which is not true a lot of the time, and since Razer and Logitech and the other big brands in the peripheral space don't have a turbo mode feature because they're essentially useless, brands can use this turbo mode as a marketing tactic to make their mice look better to consumers. However, many brands, as I mentioned earlier, are intentionally advertising this feature in a vague way to make it look like they've updated their mice to support 20k Hz polling, which is obviously not the case, and it's very disappointing to see so many brands try to deceive customers with a gimmicky feature that's essentially useless. So, should you use these turbo mode implementations on your mouse that lock your sensor's frame rate to 20k FPS? I'd say no, as the power draw from these modes is quite significant, and seeing as the oversampled data will never make it to your PC, you're essentially wasting power for a very nominal performance increase. The same goes for wired mice, as while the power draw issue isn't a concern there, you're much better off utilizing 2 or 4K polling, as these modes can actually improve your mouse's performance, while these turbo modes don't really do much, at least with today's current hardware. So while many brands are advertising this turbo mode as the next big feature of mouse technology, in reality this feature is more of a gimmick and should be treated as such.